Three more problems. Number 9. Kellen started exercising and losing weight. His initial weight, initial meaning like his beginning weight, was 270 pounds. And after a few months of training, he weighed 210 pounds. So what percent did his weight decrease? I talked to my classes about this, how we do a weight loss thing around Christmas time. Teachers do. And they go by percent of weight loss, not actual pounds. Because this guy Kellen is 270 pounds. I'm 200 pounds. Well, he has more pounds to lose than I do, right? So instead we go by percentages. So we just need to find out the percent of weight that he lost. And that is the percent proportion. Remember, we've got the original on the bottom and how much it changed on the top. We are finding the percent because that's literally what it says. What percent? Originally he weighed 270 pounds, and he now weighs 210. Big mistake because people would put 210 on the top. Well, that's what he weighs now. Okay, that's not how much it changed. So we need to find out how much his weight changed by. 270 minus 210, which is 60. So he lost 60 pounds, which is awesome. So if we can set up the proportion, we know exactly what to do after that. 100 times 60 is 6 with 1, 2, 3 zeros. And then you would just divide by the number left over, which is 270. So 6,000 divided by 270. Oops, sorry. 6,000 divided by 270. That's not right. 6,000, sorry, divided by 270. There we go. Is 22.2%. Okay, which is fantastic. All right, number 10. Jada was determining the net worth of her family. What is the net worth of the Smith family? So remember, assets. We talked about this a bunch in class. It was a good day in class. Assets are positives. Liabilities are negatives. So net worth means what's the difference in those two? What's the difference in your assets and your liabilities? So we have an option here. We could find out as far as the house goes, whether it's a positive or a negative, the value of the items, positive or negative, blah, blah, blah. Or the easiest thing for me is to just find out the total amount of assets and the total amount of liabilities, and then just find the difference in those two. Okay, so we're going to add up all of these assets, and the numbers look weird, but the asset of the house is $300,000. The value of the items is $80,000. This is dollar amounts, by the way. Their autos, meaning vehicles, is $28,000. They don't have any credit card assets because that's just a liability. It's nothing else. They have a savings of $60,000. They have $1,250 in cash. In their bank accounts, they have $9,600. And then they have some jewelry and some art. I don't have either. So their asset total is $483,850. So that's a positive. Okay, assets are positive. And then liabilities are negative. So let's add up those liabilities. $250,000 in the house. $30,000 in items in the house. $20,000 in their automobiles, and all credit cards are liabilities. $15,350. Okay, so their liabilities are $315,350. And that's a negative. Okay, so now we just have to combine these two. We got $483,850 in positives and 315,350 in negatives. Okay, so we just need to find the difference in those two. Difference meaning just subtract. So we got 483,850. Take away the liabilities of 315,350. And we'll just subtract 0, 0, 8, and 3 is 5. I'll put my comma there just to help me out. I'm going to borrow 7. 13 minus 5 is 8. 7 minus 1 is 6. And 4 minus 3 is 1. So they are in the positive of $168,000. $168,500. They are in the positive. That is their net worth. Okay? It's possible to get a negative answer in this. For me personally, I would be in the negative because I have a bunch of student loans because I started school so late. So that's why I strongly recommend doing. If you're going to do college, do it as soon as you get out of high school. Okay. Anyways, all right. So number 11, Marcus and his brother are planning on sharing an apartment. And the financial responsibilities. Marcus makes $24,570 a year. Their monthly expenses for this apartment are $4,576. So what equation can be used to determine why the amount of money Marcus's brother needs to make to cover the monthly expenses? So let's just look at this. Let's just think of this real life. Don't even look at those answers. Don't think about the word equation. Don't think about the letter Y. Don't do any of that stuff. All right. So first off, the monthly expense for this apartment it's going to be $4,576, right? Okay. That's for a month. So how can we find out how much it would be for a year? To find out for a year, you would just multiply 4,576 times 12 because there's 12 months in a year, right? So that would give us our year. Okay? And we're trying to find out how much his brother needs to make. Okay, so if Marcus makes $24,570, we would subtract the yearly expense, right? The year, which would be this right here. Maybe I'll highlight that in some funky color. So we would subtract the yearly expenses. And that would tell us what his brother needs to make. Right? Because they don't want to be broke. So his brother needs to make enough money to cover whatever's left. All right? So a lot of times when it comes to algebra, especially word problems like this, if you just solve it on your own without reading the algebra answers and all the riffraff, if you just solve it on your own and then look back at how you solved it, you'll find those steps in the algebra problem. All right, so let's look. Letter A took the monthly expenses and multiplied it by 12. And multiplied it by 12, which is great. Okay, but then they subtracted the expenses, they subtracted Marcus's expenses from the expenses, right? They subtracted Marcus's income from the expenses. That doesn't. I don't think that's right because we would end up with a negative number. Okay, so I don't think that it's A. All right, so let's look at B. We got $24,570. We have how much Marcus makes minus the monthly expense. Well, that's only 1 month, right? And Marcus doesn't get paid $24,570 a month. So it cannot be that. Cannot be B. Letter C has $24,570, which is what Marcus makes. And then it's taking away the monthly expenses times 12. Well, why did they multiply times 12 on letter C? To find out what the yearly expense is, right? So if we look down what we did, didn't we do the expenses times 12 right here to find out what it was per year? And then we got Marcus's and we subtracted that. We subtracted the yearly expense from that. So I believe it is C. Let's look at D. They took it, I'm just looking at the end here, they divided by 12. Well, the yearly expense isn't 4,576. That's the monthly expense. So D cannot be it. So it has to be C. Okay. If you've been doing these reviews and studying these reviews, I'd almost guarantee that you've been doing good on the common assessments. This is probably the #1 thing to study. Okay, we'll have your teacher or somebody somewhere will have the formula for interest, but you should also know it. It's I equals PRT, right? Interest equals principal times rate times time. Okay. Good luck on your test. I hope you have a good week back.